Alright fellas, now if you've spent any time online recently, I'm sure you've seen the rumour that Conor McGregor is soon to make his return to the boxing ring against one of the Pauls. Although last night apparently it was confirmed by multiple media outlets reporting it was a done sealed deal. So I went hunting for the truth, and I think a lot of this is just smoke and mirrors, but I want to delve into what could actually be the truth. Is Conor McGregor actually making his return to boxing? But just before that, if you love everything boxing, you've found yourself in the right place. My name is Cloister and I make videos on everything boxing, and yeah, this is technically boxing. So to stay informed, make sure to subscribe. Now in the world of boxing over the last couple of weeks, unfortunately this has seemed to be one of the biggest stories. After the financial success yet moral minefield which was Tyson versus Jake Paul, we're apparently set to see Conor McGregor versus Logan Paul, and everyone is talking about it. This came out of left field originally after some tweets from McGregor lit the fire a couple weeks ago, with Logan Paul hinting at the same. Yet most of this was written off as just McGregor trying to keep his name relevant, and probably all rubbish. We've seen this before, as almost this time a couple years ago we had the talks of a Mayweather rematch, with both confirming talks yet nothing happening. So I kinda just thought it'd be something similar, something which is probably just not gonna happen, all talk and no substance. Yet today there's been tweets from McGregor and news outlets talking about it. $250 million set to be split. It all seemed to be true, but everyone seemed to kinda ignore that the news break came from this one tweet. Now this all looks legit. Michael Benson was a legit source for boxing news, one of the best and biggest boxing accounts on Twitter. Yet people failed to realise a couple weeks ago he sold his account to the Ring magazine, and it was shifted into the Ring magazine's name, allowing a parody account to open up and basically troll the boxing world. I've seen so many people fooled by say the talks of a Coley versus Klitschko on a Legends card. This was another thing that they just made up and people caught onto it. I've even heard Eddie Hearn talk about this parody account. It's fooling a lot of people, and once again it stirred up the pot. The rumour was picked up by an MMA journalist who couldn't even double check his work, and McGregor responded, and so here we are. For the most part, I believe this is what you call fake news, a pretty elaborate ruse which is also pretty funny. But why would McGregor be tweeting all of this? Well, probably because there are some sort of legitimate discussions going on, and the talk about $250 million being in the air would be good for McGregor to try and negotiate. Although today's news was rubbish, I think there's probably some legitimacy to the claims that we may see McGregor versus Logan in 2025. When we first all heard these claims, we pointed to why isn't McGregor fighting Jake instead? Why Logan? That's just not as exciting and it's kinda lame. And what happened to Conor's MMA return? Well, in terms of Jake Paul versus Conor, it's clear that Jake has wanted this fight for a long time. This has been Jake's true dream fight, yet it's never materialized down to one major reason. Conor is under UFC contract. With that being the case, Conor can't just go and have a random boxing match without the UFC's approval. And although I'm sure Conor would be game and it would make a lot of money, because of Dana's hatred of Jake, this would never go down. And on top of that, over the last few years, if Jake did verse McGregor, and if Jake managed to win, it would have been a horrible look for what is a novice boxer going in and beating one of their major stars, even though it's not the same sport. The UFC wants to market itself as the serious MMA home and don't want to entertain these circus sideshows if it doesn't provide a great upside to the organisation. But you fast forward to today, Conor is a shell of what he used to be. He's erratic, partying and undisciplined. His UFC return has been clouded for years. The return to the octagon seems less and less likely by the day. And in the meanwhile, the UFC has officially merged with the WWE, and who signed with the WWE? Well, Logan Paul. Conor has 2 fights left on his UFC deal, and those 2 fights have apparently been a major element of their renegotiation with ESPN over their broadcast rights. This is because a McGregor fight always brings big numbers. He's still one of the biggest or the biggest draw in the sport. But with McGregor's ability dwindling, the UFC could be looking at Conor thinking a return to the cage could be disastrous. McGregor anyway has been wanting a big boxing match again, so why don't we partner him up against one of the most viral stars of the WWE in a big boxing promotion, which will provide promotion to both sports. Both Conor McGregor and Logan Paul can certainly promote a fight, and hey, if a country is willing to put up the money, that's a bigger upside. And it just kinda makes sense. It could kickstart Dana's boxing promotional company, which he has been wanting to launch, kicking off with one of the biggest spectacles that we could see in the upcoming year. It all makes sense when you start to put the puzzle pieces together, and along with Dana hinting at something big next year, this could be really it. Although I would be really surprised if something like this actually happens. But if it did, I would expect something similar to what we saw with Jake versus Tyson. You would have a fantastic build up, and no matter what you think of either guy, they both know how to talk. That's how they've built their careers. The press conferences would be great, and it would draw a lot of us in, although not for the boxing, just for the drama. In an actual fight, let's be honest, it would be all a bit of a disappointment. The weight difference would be something shocking, and McGregor's abilities are currently unknown, but I don't think we would see half the performance he put up against Floyd. And with Logan, his boxing ability is pretty tragic. He's a good athlete, yeah, but not a good boxer. He hasn't improved since he fought in his first fight. Hands at the hips, swinging, no power, it's just not entertaining. I'm sure if you watched the Dennis or Mayweather matches, you would agree. Even against Dennis, a man who said brutal things about his wife, trolled him relentlessly, and stood basically still in front of him, even walking forwards without throwing any punches at all, he still couldn't do any damage. He's just not entertaining to watch. Unlike when he's in the WWE ring, you gotta give him his props there. The whole angle they'll take is Logan hasn't been truly tested, which is true. The only time he vaguely was, he lost. And with no improvements, all McGregor would have to do to find success is actually land some punches, which shouldn't be too hard when Logan's hands are at his hips. Yet once again, Conor isn't a big man, and the fight would probably be destined to be a very boring 8-rounder of vague punches and running, and it ultimately would just be a payday for everyone involved. But hey, even though I think the fight would be incredibly average, the build-up would be incredibly entertaining, and I think it's hard to dispute that. I guess we'll see what 2025 holds, but this could certainly be one of the weirder boxing matches we might see next year. But now let me know what you think about all of this. Do you see this fight happening at all? And more so, do you see McGregor even returning to combat sports? Let me know all your thoughts down below. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does a ton to help the channel. Yet, thanks for watching fellas, and I'll catch you in the next one.